Part 37. The Age of Rebirth, the fake daughter relies on cultivation to become bigger and stronger. Author, Laughing Charm. Chapter 361. This child's future is limitless. I have been practicing for several years before reaching the foundation building stage. How old is he? He must have been practicing since he was still in his mother's womb. Several people around him were even envious and excited, and their throats felt a little bit at this moment. It's not normal anymore. Shen Yun didn't say anything on the side. He started cultivating in his mother's womb, but he is still quite young. Unknown to a few people around him, they looked at it with envy and worry at the same time, and their moods were a bit complicated. The last few strikes of Xiao Banqi were not as easy as Chen Yun's. It was as if all the thunder and lightning he had just saved from attacking Chen Yun were used on Xiao Banqi, which directly hit the person so hard that he could no longer sit still. He looked at the person lying on the ground. The little person there was covered in blood, and everyone watching outside had mixed emotions. With the end of the thunder tribulation, everyone thought it was over. Unexpectedly, there was a faint and deafening roar of a dragon in the sky every day, and then they saw a looming shadow floating above the clouds, attracting everyone's attention. Past. Chen Yun looked at the looming dragon body above, and his heart tightened. Why did this figure look a bit like the father of Xiao Banqi he saw in Fenjiao? Could it be that he came to pick up Xiao Banqi back? He wanted to take a closer look. The dragon shadow has disappeared into the clouds, and everyone below is exclaiming, wondering whether what they just saw is true. Shen Yun no longer paid attention. She went directly to Xiao Banqi. The spiritual energy after the thunder tribulation had dropped, but Xiao Banqi still had no tendency to sit up. She wanted to go over and see how he was doing. When I arrived at the place, I saw people frowning tightly, as if they were in pain. They must have been seriously injured in the lightning disaster, especially the last few thunders, which seemed to split the people apart. But now he has to wake up, and there is still the last step of childbirth that he needs to survive on his own. If he doesn't wake up, then this thunderstorm will be in vain. It's hard to say whether he will be promoted next time or whether he can still be promoted. Matter. Little Banqi, Golden Dragon, wake up quickly, Chen Yun shouted anxiously, and kept taking things out of the space. Finally, he took out the lotus seeds that he had collected before refining the elixir. Chen Yun went directly to Xiao Banqi. Stuffing it in your mouth, this lotus seed is very special and almost melts in your mouth. Although the little one will feel dizzy, eating this does not hinder anything. Master, how's the situation? The three disciples who were following behind saw that the little jumper hadn't woken up yet, so they flew over directly. You guys haven't woken up yet, take a look, Shen Yun urged anxiously as he looked at the rapidly spreading clouds in the sky. A few people didn't hesitate and started moving quickly. The injuries to the body are not very serious. They are still being repaired quickly. It doesn't look like a faint caused by injury. Several people also came to the conclusion. Let me give acupuncture a try, Chu Jing said, and picked up the needle bag after saying that, but before he could inject the acupuncture, he moved a little. Little Banqi, wake up quickly, you are still having a baby, Shen Yun shouted quickly. Ji Ying, Dui Lei Ji. Xiao Banqi was confused for a moment and sat up immediately. Shen Yun also quickly left this place with his three apprentices. I don't know whether it was the blessing of the dragon or the luck of the phoenix, but the little Banqi finally succeeded in conceiving a baby. Golden Dragon, you just scared us to death. Before anyone could come over, they saw the person standing up, and the Shen family members and three young disciples flew over directly. It was a near miss, but fortunately the result was good, but the name of the child Jinlong is really right. This baby even scares the dragons in the sky. It's really amazing, Zhang Min said with a dreamy look on his face. Obviously still I was trapped in the emotion of just meeting Shen Long. Fortunately, everyone is fine. You two have also set an example for us people. I don't know who will be the first to survive the Golden Core Thunder tribulation. It would be better to serve as a teaching material for us, Liang Shan said with emotion. Then it's probably Team Yan. Don't you feel that the spiritual energy on his body is beginning to escape? Apparently his danshan is full, so we need to prepare early, Shen Yun reminded him. Oh, it's freezing. Hurry up and choose a good place first when you go back. Don't choose a mountain nook like this. It's inconvenient to watch. It's best to find an open square so that we can study more easily. Several people nearby heard Shen Yun having said that. I immediately suggested it. Shen Yun didn't care what they said and flew directly towards Xiao Bengqiao. Sister, brother, they said that I saw a dragon when I gave birth to a baby just now. Is that true? As soon as Shen Yun passed by, Xiao Bengqiao looked over. Shen Yun nodded. I'll tell you when I get back. Are you okay now? What happened just now? Why did you suddenly faint? With so many people around, Shen Yun didn't want to elaborate. I don't know, but the last 3 lightning strikes made me very painful, and then I fainted. I remember that I seemed to be locked in a closed space, and finally I was knocked open by something, and then I just heard your voice calling me. I searched for it for a long time before I found it, Xiao Benqi said slightly aggrievedly. It was going well at first, but who would have thought that the thunder above suddenly increased its power? This thunderstorm is really dangerous. If you don't wake up, the birth of the baby will not be successful, Shen Xinghao said fearfully. Yes, there is still a possibility of death. You thought it was that simple, Shen Jian said happily. In the past few days, 2 people in his family were struck by lightning. He was worried to death. Now he will see that everyone is fine. Even if he is a cultivator, he feels a little tired. Okay, everything is fine. Xiao Benqi and I are going back to retreat to consolidate our cultivation. Do you want to continue training, or go back with us? Shen Yun asked a few people next to him. The plan could not keep up with the changes. I originally wanted to travel outside for 1.5 years to bring the children a lot of experience, but now I have to go back to consolidate their cultivation. We have encountered a lot of things in the past few days since we came out. We feel that we are lacking in many things. It is better to go back and read the book before going out to practice. A few people were happy and made a decision after discussing it. Okay, then let's go back together. I also feel that you still have a lot to learn, so I don't feel comfortable going out like this. Some common sense questions still need to be taught. Who knows what you will encounter next time? Woolen cloth. Something like demonic energy will not cause death all at once, but some things are not certain, so we still need to compile the information and show them to them. After the discussion was completed, Shen Yun took people directly to talk to Yan Han and the others. Okay, you go ahead. If there is any emergency, I will contact you later. I still need you to supervise the Shen family pill shop for refining the exorcism pill. They will buy it at the price. Yan Han and the others did not keep anyone. Everything has been done, and it's time for people to go back and take a rest. They also have to go back to report some things. The Age of Rebirth, the fake daughter relies on cultivation to become bigger and stronger. Author, Laughing Charm. Chapter 362. Don't worry, I'll take a look when I get back. The exorcism pill is not that easy to refine. Although I sent the prescription over, it will take some time to refine it. Even if they don't say anything, Shen Yun will take a look at this matter when he goes back. He and Yan Han said goodbye here, and Shen Yun went back with his whole family. I didn't rush back to the mountain, but went directly to the school. The information was also spread to the school. The Shen family pill shop sells some relatively common pills. Unless some people have special needs, go and customize them. The Shen family knows how to make some special elixirs. There is a lot of demand for exorcism pills this time. My family really doesn't have much stock of spiritual plants in this area. It depends on the school. I don't know how many students have been summoned to participate in this elixir refining. He led people straight to the school's alchemy room. There were many people inside, not only students, but also teachers who had studied alchemy with Chen Yun before. In the hot weather, everyone was busy in the alchemy room. Even one person, no one is afraid of the cold or heat anymore. It's still so hot that I'm sweating profusely. At the door stood Teacher Zhang, who was in charge of preparing materials. He felt someone coming and turned around to see Shen Yun coming with someone. "Hey, Teacher Shen, has your matter been resolved? You came just in time. We have just found the way to the elixir. Can you help us take a look?" Teacher Zhang said happily. "The things over there are over for the time being. The pill is the most important thing right now. I'll come over and take a look." Shen Yun looked at the busy scene inside and said to Teacher Zhang in a low voice. "That's good, we'll be anxious now, but you know the alchemy thing best. It really can't be done in a hurry, it has to be done step by step. Later, I heard that you were going to be promoted to the Thunder Tribulation, and these students were a little worried. If the principal hadn't come to talk about the matter, they would probably have gone to see the Lay Tribulation." Teacher Zhang said impatiently. "The students really have no choice. They just come to school. Even if they don't come to help this time, there is nothing they can do. Although the school has requirements in this regard, if they just use the excuse that they have something to do at home, then the school cannot be merciless either. But things are pretty good this time. I received the news. Those who were close came over one after another. I understand. This happened suddenly. Everyone has arrived. I'll go in and see the results. By the way, I also brought 3 people here. I will go back after the elixir matter has been taken care of." Chen Yun nodded towards the other party. When Teacher Zhang heard that Shen Yun was going to help, he stepped aside. Chu Jing and the others had all been here when they first started teacher training, so Teacher Zhang was no stranger to them. He saw 3 people walking towards the vacant alchemy position, and quickly sent over the needed spiritual plant organization manpower. Shen Yun went in and walked around. The entire alchemy room was very large. There were more than a dozen people refining alchemy here, but it was very quiet. Everyone was paying attention to the alchemy furnace in front of them. Even Shen Yun walked over without looking at Shen Yun. With a glance at Yun, Shen Yun was very satisfied with this point. Unlike at the beginning, the entire alchemy room was noisy. Whenever someone came over, the furnace would explode. It was common to see the furnace explode. Now everyone has learned to calm down. This exorcism pill is a brand new pill that these people have never been exposed to before, but after these few days of practice, these people have already practiced it well. Shen Yun even saw someone practicing low-level exorcism. Dan, now he is competing with the spiritual plants in the Dan furnace. Shen Yun glanced at her. This girl was very talented. Her teacher had mentioned it before. This time, she was indeed a bit better than others. Shen Yun went around in a circle and found that everyone's progress was basically the same. This is not difficult to understand. After refining alchemy every day, everyone would communicate with each other. As long as the talents are not too poor, there won't be too much difference. Shen Yun was not in a hurry to speak. Instead, he took a spiritual plant and took out his alchemy furnace to start the trial. This is her first time refining this elixir, but she has refined many more elixirs than these people below. Coupled with her current cultivation level, she is even more comfortable in controlling spiritual energy. This elixir spiritual plant can be used in many types. It mainly tests the control of spiritual energy by the spiritual consciousness. Although these people below are basically in the foundation building stage and have enough spiritual energy, their spiritual consciousness is incomparable to Shen Yun. The chance of failure in refining will be greater. Shen Yun is a veteran, but the first time he refined exorcism pills, he was still unskilled. The first batch of pills produced 5 pills, all of which were intermediate pills, and there was not even a high-grade pill. Shen Yun looked carefully. I swallowed one of the exorcism pills in my hand and felt the power of the medicine. Intermediate pills are enough for those who have just been infected with evil spirits, but for people with serious illnesses like Sule, high-grade pills are probably needed. Medicine, even high-quality elixirs will do. Shen Yun was not in a hurry to continue. Instead, he wrote the problems and solutions he had just discovered during his refining on the blackboard above. Then he handed the 4 elixirs in his hand to teacher Zhang and returned to the elixir furnace to continue refining. Although I am anxious to stabilize my cultivation, it is not too late. Shen Yun needs to refine the best exorcism pill before going back. Sister, do you want to refine the elixir here? Xiao Bengqiye saw Shen Yun's plan and walked over directly. Yes, Shen Yun nodded, take them back first and stabilize their cultivation. I won't be delayed for long. I will talk to you about the dragon in detail when I get back. Okay, let's go back first. Xiao Bengqiye didn't insist on staying here. He went back to stabilize his cultivation so that he would be able to fight if anything happened in the future. Besides, talking about the things he encountered during the Thunder Tribulation, he always felt it's a bit strange. He needs to go back and think about it first. Seeing Xiao Bengqiye leaving with several people from the Shen family, Chen Yun began to concentrate on refining the elixir. There were people who had finished refining the elixir beside him. He looked up and saw the slightly familiar writing on the blackboard. He turned his head reflexively and saw the familiar words on the blackboard. In the corner, I saw Chen Yun, who was refining elixirs. No one was in a hurry to make alchemy on his own. He wrote down what was on the blackboard, and then walked directly to Shen Yun with questions. He didn't bother anyone, and just watched Shen Yun make alchemy from the side. Shen Yun noticed someone coming to watch and deliberately slowed down a bit. When a furnace of pills is refined, there will be 8 pills and only 1 high-grade pill. This chance is too small. It shouldn't be. I have made pills before. Even if it is a new pill, there are still high-grade pills. Secondly, this time, 2/3 of them are high-grade elixirs, and there may even be top-grade elixirs. It took him twice this time to get a high-level elixir, which was obviously not in line with his previous level. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Age of Rebirth, the fake daughter relies on cultivation to become bigger and stronger. Author, Laughing Charm. Chapter 363. Shen Yun frowned and ignored the excited voices of the students next to him, and carefully thought about which steps he had just taken that were inappropriate. The aura has become more and the consciousness has become stronger. Why is alchemy not as before? This is not in line with the law. Shen Yun casually released a wisp of flame, which changed into various shapes in his hand. It was still as smooth as before. Even because his spiritual consciousness became stronger, the various things formed by the flame became more refined. Shen Yun's hands kept changing the shape of the flame. The students next to him also watched Chen Yun playing with fire without saying a word, secretly admiring him in his heart. It's no wonder that the teacher was so good at refining the alchemy. The fire was already playing tricks, and wouldn't it make him more comfortable when refining the elixir? They went back also practice well. More and more people were watching here, and Shen Yun finally discovered his problem. Although my spiritual energy and consciousness have become stronger, I am used to the previous intensity. This suddenly became stronger. I am still a little uncomfortable using it. There are still some slight flaws in the control. This is not good in battles and so on. It doesn't matter, but when it comes to alchemy, the slightest mistake can lead to 1,000 miles. I didn't blow up the furnace because of my rich experience. Knowing the reason, Chen Yun was not in a hurry to refine the next batch of elixir, but turned to look at the people watching beside him. Do you have any questions? This elixir is very good this time exercise opportunities. You will graduate from school one day. The teacher can only hand over the methods to you. Many new prescriptions may be handed over to you in this way in the future. This time is regarded as an internship. If you have any questions, please discuss them while the teachers and classmates are here. You can also talk to me now and we will discuss it together. This is also the first time for me to make this elixir. Isn't this a problem? Everyone looked at the smile on Shen Yun's face, and their hearts that were a little nervous at first calmed down. Teacher, haven't you succeeded? Why are there still problems? The girl Shen Yun saw just now said boldly. 7 intermediate elixirs and 1 high-level elixir, this is a problem for me. Shen Yun smiled lightly and looked at the elixirs in the bottle in front of him and said. But you don't always tell us that it's successful once you practice it. Someone questioned Shen Yun's words. Yes, beginners, if you can make elixirs, that is a big step forward. I have been learning alchemy for many years. This requirement cannot be placed on me. If you have also been refining alchemy for several years, you will have a solid foundation in everything. Then I will definitely have stricter requirements on you. You don't need to tell me at that time, you will probably demand it yourself, Shen Yun explained with a smile. Everyone is really smiling like this. I heard before that teacher Shen Yun has passed through the nascent soul tribulation. Some of them have just passed the foundation establishment. This one is definitely incomparable. After thinking about this, the students no longer struggled with this, and directly began to ask themselves what they had questions about. Shen Yun answered these questions in detail one by one, and watched them return to their seats one by one. He withdrew his eyes and looked at the alchemy furnace in front of him. Instead of refining the exorcism pill urgently, Shen Yun directly took out the spiritual plant from the space and began to refine the pills that he was familiar with before. After refining more than a dozen different potions of pills, Shen Yun felt more familiar with the body's spiritual energy. Controls are as silky smooth as ever. Then she asked and took another spiritual plant from Teacher Zhang. Teacher Shen, would you like to get a few more copies? The spiritual plants this time have been fully prepared, and I have ordered you to refine some more for later use. When Teacher Zhang saw Shen Yun, he took a portion of the spiritual plants and then looked at the 8 in his hand. After taking the elixir, he opened his mouth and said. It's not that he ordered Shen Yun to work, it's just that although there are many spiritual plants this time, they are also very precious. He has been feeling heartbroken when he saw these students and teachers burning alchemy furnaces here these days. Now powerful people are here. He just thought that if Shen Yun practiced more, Lingzi would waste less. There are so many people here, let them young people practice more, and I will set an example. If they don't practice, they will have to practice sooner or later if they encounter any problems in the future. Shen Yun turned around and said with a smile. Teacher Zhang heard Shen Yun say that young people felt awkward. After all, she was only in her 20s, so why did she speak so old-fashionedly? But thinking about it, what the other party said was right. Sooner or later, this spiritual growth would be wasted. Okay, then go ahead and talk to them about the essence of alchemy later. Teacher Zhang stopped trying to persuade him and arranged for someone to deliver Shen Yun's newly refined elixir. Shen Yun nodded and walked directly towards his alchemy furnace. As Lingzi was put into the alchemy furnace, Shen Yun's alchemy also began. The benefits of stronger spiritual consciousness are also reflected now. In the past, Shen Yun could only handle several spiritual plants at the same time, but now there are more than a dozen spiritual plants in the alchemy furnace, and Shen Yun can accurately control the flames of each one. As the spiritual vegetation is burned into the form you want, the next step is the more important process of condensing the elixir. He gestured toward the alchemy furnace one by one. The various spiritual plant materials inside slowly gathered together, slowly condensed, and separated. After Shen Yun's last alchemy forming gesture, he punched in, and each one was spinning slowly. Different lines slowly appeared on the elixir. Dan is done. Shen Yun looked at the 6 pills inside. Although the quantity of the pills this time was small, the quality was not bad. There were 3 high-grade pills, 2 intermediate pills, and 1 top-grade exorcism pill. Shen Yun packed up the other elixirs, picked up the top-grade elixir and looked at it carefully. Like the top-grade elixir refined before, the fragrance of the medicine was solid, and the elixir pattern was more natural. Shen Yun did not hesitate and directly put the elixir into another bottle. Teacher Zhang, these elixirs are newly refined. Please be sure to send this elixir to a patient over there named Sule. His condition is the most serious. The effect should be better with this. Shen Yun took the pill and found Teacher Zhang at the door and explained. Don't worry, I'll hand it over there. Teacher Zhang took the thing solemnly. Okay, I'll leave you with the trouble here. They've already practiced well. It's just a matter of time before they can become elixirs. I just gave them the answers. Now I'll go back first. If you have any questions, you can directly just ask Zhang Ji and the others to send me a message or go back to find me. Shen Yun also confessed before leaving. Okay, Teacher Zhang nodded. Seeing Shen Yun leave, he immediately arranged for a reliable person to send the elixir out quickly. Some people in the isolation area over there have already eaten the first batch of elixirs delivered. Originally, Sulei's serious situation must have been the first batch to arrange the elixirs, but suddenly a man was invaded by demonic energy at the scene. The infected person violently hurt others, but the second acupuncture was not as good as the first. In order to prevent the evil spirit from spreading rapidly in the body, the pill was put into other people's mouths. The age of rebirth, the fake daughter relies on cultivation to become bigger and stronger. Author, Laughing Charm. Chapter 364. So when this top-quality elixir arrived, the previous batch of medicine had just arrived, and the medicine given to Sule was replaced before he even took it. When Sule took this pill, Shen Yun had already started to retreat in his room on the mountain. In front of the alchemy, the body's aura has been stable, so Shen Yun has not closed for a long time. Even when she came out of seclusion, Xiao Benqi was still not well. Shen Yun stood under the small jumping tree house and took a look. Seeing that his condition was normal, he walked directly down. Sister, you're fine. Shen Xing shouted happily when he saw Shen Yun. This shout was heard by people in the entire valley and hillside, and most of the family members were immediately called over. Let mom see what's going on. Yang Kenken ran the fastest and went straight to Shen Yun, pulling him with him and starting to look up and down. What's wrong, Mom? I'm fine, Shen Yun said with a smile. What's the matter? We have all heard from several of them. When you went out, you first encountered some kind of demonic energy, and then you and Xiao Benqi both encountered thunder tribulations. Why did you say that there were so many things when you went out? From now on, it's better to go out less often. Although we didn't go through the thunder, we heard it in the mountains. At that time, we were still thinking about what happened. If Shen Xing hadn't leaked it when we came back, we wouldn't have known. It's so dangerous that we are scared even thinking about it at home. Yang Kenken was scolding beside him. Several women from the family came over and surrounded Shen Yun. Several other elders also stood around. It's okay. Didn't they tell you that I was okay? My thunder tribulation was successful. Now I am stronger and there will be fewer things that can hurt me in the future. Shen Yun rolled his eyes at the big-mouthed Shen Xing and comforted him. Said. It will be okay. The situation was so dangerous at that time. You took these careless little ones and protected them. Just after the danger was over, we encountered a thunderstorm. Think about the fear in our hearts. Very well, we even saw Jin Long when he came back, but you went into seclusion when you came back and didn't see us again. After Yang Kenken finished speaking, Yang Xiaoko took over again. Chen Yun saw how they were trembling a little when they spoke, and knew that they were really worried. In the eyes of ordinary people, thunder can really kill people. They didn't see the situation at the scene. Thinking about it later, the rumbling sound was so loud. The sound of thunder for a long time probably made me more scared the more I thought about it. Mom, don't worry, it's really okay. As long as you practice, you will have this moment. When you go through the thunder tribulation in the future, you will know that it looks very scary, but actually you don't feel that way when you are in it. Shen Yun he continued to argue that as for when the elders in the family will survive the thunder tribulation, this is something unknown. After all, the two old people have practiced for such a long time before they can reach the 6th level of Qi cultivation. My parents have worked harder. Yes, but I don't know if it's because of my old age during cultivation or because of my spiritual root qualifications. After building the foundation, there has been no movement. During the thunder tribulation we don't even know what year or month it is, so let's get this out of the way first. Don't think we are stupid. It's a near-death situation. Shen Xin has told us about it in the past few days. Shen Kuliang immediately exposed Shen Yun's words from the side. Shen Yun glanced at Shen Xin, who had an innocent expression next to him. This kid is really good. He blocked all his own roads when he was not awake. It seems that he has read too few books. He still has time to come here if he is free. It's a matter of telling the old man and others that it's time to arrange more things for him. Oh, Grandpa, didn't I just survive the thunder tribulation? It's not easy. You don't say congratulations to me or get me something delicious to celebrate. You are all talking about me here. It makes me sad. Seeing that it was impossible to argue with them, Shen Yun simply stopped arguing. We have all planned to have a good celebration when you finish the retreat. We have called all the relatives at home. Let's have a good celebration. Our granddaughter is so powerful, she should show off to everyone. Shen Kuliang also he said cheerfully and cooperatively. Well, friends and relatives will definitely need to prepare things when they come over. Is there anything you need my help with? He hurriedly said that the matter just now was put down. Just rest and wait to eat. This time you are the protagonist. You don't need any help, Yang Xiaoko said immediately. Okay, then I'll go over and see what's going on with third brother, and I'll have a nice talk with you when I get back. Shen Yun immediately found an excuse and ran away. Even though I am now in the nascent soul stage, my family still treats me as a little girl who is easily injured. It is really a sweet burden. Shen Yun walked towards the Shen family's alchemy room in a good mood. Although the alchemy room of the Shen family is not as big as the school, like the weapon refining room, it also occupies a large area on the hillside. When Shen Yun entered, Shen Hong was collecting pills. Third brother, how is the refining of the exorcism pill going? Shen Yun asked with concern. Are you out of seclusion? All the spiritual plants have been used up, so I simply refined 30 pills, 22 intermediate, and 8 low-level pills, Shen Hong said in a good mood. That's good. Shen Yun looked at the quality of the elixirs in the other person's hands. They were all good, which was a bit unexpected. Opening this elixir shop is still effective. At least now Shen Hong can get any elixir quickly. I have figured out how to refine it. There are not many spiritual plants for refining exorcism pills on my mountain. If I can refine 30 pills, there is basically no waste. I'll send the elixir down first, and I'll ask you about the details of how to overcome the tribulation when I get back. Shen Hong put away the elixir and said hello to Shen Yun before going out. Shen Yun didn't stop him and watched the other party hurried away with his flying sword. She walked out of the alchemy room again. She originally wanted to see if she could find some good materials and come back to refine some good things for her family. However, she encountered so many things when she went out, and she shelved the matter again. Yun looked at the weapon refining room with the door closed, turned around and walked towards the valley. Take advantage of the time to improve the formations in the mountains. I didn't take into account such things as demonic energy before. Now I have to change it. If you encounter demonic energy, the defensive and isolation array must be able to automatically activate to avoid the evil energy. Entered the valley. While working, Shen Yun did not forget to call his younger brothers who were idle. They all had nothing to do anyway, so why not come over and work? Definitely not just expressing anger. It takes more than a day or two to work on large-scale formations. In addition, the spiritual stones that Yan Han promised to send to Shen Yun for replenishment have not yet been delivered, so he can only use the reserved spiritual stones at home. In addition, Shen Yun in order to prevent the formation from running. When the spiritual energy was exhausted, a spirit gathering array was added to this formation. This inspiration was obtained from Jiowiha, and it came in handy this time. The Age of Rebirth, the fake daughter relies on cultivation to become bigger and stronger. Author, Laughing Charm. Chapter 365. By the time Shen Yun and several members of his family had improved the formation, it was time for the Shen family to treat guests. Shen Liman and his uncle went out to invite relatives and friends in person in the past few days. They were very busy every day. Anyway, they didn't ask Shen Yun and others to help. A few elders and a few sisters-in-law arranged this matter. This morning the valley became lively early in the morning, but Shen Yun was currently in the small jumping tree house. Early in the morning, Shen Yun received the news that Xiao Banqi was released from seclusion. He didn't bother anyone else, so he came over alone. When he came over, he saw a big transformation into a living person. After waiting for more than half an hour, Shen Yun was still a little confused. "Sister, have 5 brothers' clothes not been washed? Why do they smell like they are still a little too small?" A young man of nearly 1.9 meters in the treehouse was complaining with disgust on his face. He was wearing heavy clothes. "She looks a bit small." Thinking about the fleshy figure she saw in the morning when she was undressed, wearing heavy clothes is indeed a bit aggrieved. However, even if the clothes are too small, they can't hide her stunning face. Shen Yun took one look and then another. His cute little brother completely disappeared and turned into a man taller than himself. A pair of phoenix eyes looked at me a little aggrievedly, which was really exciting. "You put it on first and let me take it easy. You said you didn't become like this after the thunder tribulation before. How did you become like this after being in seclusion?" Shen Yun murmured. "Didn't you say that you can't reveal your identity outside? I think changing my identity outside may scare people, so why don't I just suppress it and change again when I come back?" Xiao Banqi said a little aggrievedly. "Obviously it is a phoenix, but it looks like a little puppy, irritating one after another. You don't look like a child anymore." "This expression is a bit inconsistent," Shen Yun suggested kindly. Although it looked cute, Shen Yun wouldn't be able to accept it for a while. "Okay then." Xiao Bangji turned into a cold face mode, which looked a bit bluffing. "Who did you learn this from?" Shen Yun looked at his face and suddenly felt familiar. "Yan Han, he is the only person I have ever seen who is better looking, but a little worse than me. I think this expression is cool," Xiao Banqi said narcissistically. "Jin Long, you really shouldn't learn some things. If you do this for a long time, your face will become stiff and then paralyzed. Besides, it makes me uncomfortable to see you like this every day. It was so cold when we were in the capital. We are superiors, so we can't ask for it. What are you doing? It's not appropriate for you to be like this now, right? We have to have our own style." As soon as Shen Yun heard what he said, he immediately persuaded him to change his mind. "Why don't you just be cold-faced every day? There are so many worlds. It's beautiful, but you can't smile. People are so cold in order to have the majesty of a minister. Okay, I don't think this is suitable for me either. I'm a unique phoenix, how can I imitate others?" He grew up and became taller, but he felt even more stinky, and Shen Yun was convinced. After letting him chatter for a while, Shen Yun also calmed down his nerves, and then the two of them started talking about business. Sister, you said that when I was in Thunder Tribulation, you saw that the dragon looked like my dad. Xiao Banqi also became more serious. He sat aside and heard a cry of sister. Shen Yun calmed down a bit after getting used to it. Yes, I looked at that figure like the one I had seen in Fenjiao, but when I wanted to confirm it, the figure disappeared into the clouds. Shen Yun was also a little unsure. After all, it was just a glance. In addition, the clouds were half covering, and Shen Yun had never seen other dragons. I really didn't know if all dragons were the same. Then it's really possible. When I was unconscious, I felt like I was locked in a place. I clearly felt an impact from outside, and then the place where I was locked up was opened. If you say that, I hit that place. It really could be my dad, Jin Long said, touching his chin. Then your dad came to this world, or sensed that there was something wrong with you, and suddenly came here through time and space. Shen Yun was a little curious. Is he coming to take you back? You are crossing here. If a nascent soul tribulation can encounter this kind of problem, I really can't protect you. Chen Yun thought about it seriously, and it might be true. Although he didn't know what kind of power directly locked up people's souls or spiritual consciousness when Xiao Bengqiao went through the Thunder Tribulation, but when he thought about it, he knew that it was definitely not a simple matter. People can't do this yet, so it may be the latest thing to appear in this world. After all, Xiao Bengqi is not native to this world. The exclusive nature of the world may eliminate these potential threats. Xiao Bengqi, maybe it's really not suitable to stay in this world. Shen Yun told Xiao Bengqi his thoughts again. You say it's possible. If you didn't do anything to me this time, you might do it again next time. But it's still early to go through the Thunder Tribulation next time. The danger is not so close. Besides, since the other party is afraid of my existence, which means that my strength is also a danger to the other party, so I don't necessarily have to be afraid of him, Xiao Bengqi said thoughtfully. Although I say that, our strength in the nascent soul stage is still weak, so it is better to be cautious. Even if the other party is afraid, it is probably limited, otherwise he will not take action directly when you are in the Thunder Tribulation, Shen Yun said remindingly. Little Bengzi also nodded. Then do you think my dad has come over, or what happened? Why did he just bump into me and not come out to see me? Little Bengj was confused about another question. It takes a lot of energy to cross the world barrier. Is your father somewhere where he has insufficient spiritual energy and is cultivating? The two looked at each other, obviously thinking about this situation. Both of them stood up directly. Do you want to go out and look for it? Shen Yun asked. If the little one is in danger, then the dragon with a higher level of cultivation will probably be in more danger. Then let's go out for a walk. Although Xiao Bengqi has never seen his real father in his life, to be honest, he is still a little curious. The two people hurriedly walked downstairs and saw the bustle in the valley. Oh, I was so excited by you all morning that I forgot about the dinner invitation at home today. Shen Yun clapped his hands. It would be funny if this person left, leaving the whole family here. Why the treat? Is the third brother or the fifth brother getting married? Xiao Bengqi didn't know. So, the last time the family had a large-scale treat was when Shen Hong's child was 1 month old. No children were born recently, so it can only be because someone wants to get married. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Age of Rebirth, the fake daughter relies on cultivation to become bigger and stronger. Author, Laughing Charm. Chapter 366. No one wants to get married. Isn't it because we have successfully advanced to nascent soul? The family said they would invite relatives and friends over to celebrate. That's why it's so lively, Shen Yun quickly explained. Oh, this is a common thing in my dad's world. This is the first time I've seen it here, Xiao Bengqi said suddenly. Of course it's the first time we've met, we are the only two who have passed through the nascent soul, and there are no others yet, Shen Yun reminded. This is true, but we still can't go out to find my dad. Why don't you tell your family that we can go out and celebrate anyway? It doesn't matter whether we are here or not, Shen Yun suggested as he looked at more and more people in the valley. It may not be effective to go out and look for it now. In this case, sister, there is a blood connection between my father and I will cast a spell first to see if he has come to this world. Xiao Beng Tao thought about it and changed his mind. Just now he was also anxious for a while and did not think of this method. Although this world is not as big as his father's world, it is still not easy to find someone, especially if the other person hides his own cultivation. It will be even more difficult to find him. It is fastest to use blood energy to sense. Okay, I'll protect you. The two people immediately turned around and returned to the treehouse on the mountain. There were restrictions on the hillside. It wasn't that the Shen family couldn't get in, so Shen Yun wasn't worried about the group of people below coming up the mountain. Shen Yun sent a message to Shen Liman, saying that he would go down later and that he would be under the treehouse to be protected by Xiao Benqi. This spell is not very difficult, it just requires a trace of blood essence, but this spell is continuous. As long as Xiao Benqi's blood relatives appear in this world, he can sense it, so there was no reaction when the spell was cast. I'm not in a hurry personally. The spell has been cast, and we are just waiting for the results. When today is over, we will go out and search nearby. Shen Yun looked at Xiaobo, who came down with a frown, and comforted him. It's not that there was no reaction. I sensed the other party's existence the moment I cast the spell, but the energy was very weak. It only showed a vague position for that moment, and then I felt it no more. Now I can be sure that the other party is in this world. But I'm really not sure where it is, the vague location is too big, Xiao Benqi said in confusion. Is he nearby? Can you sense what the other party is now? Hearing that the other party is really coming, Chen Yun also becomes worried. If the other party becomes a human, it doesn't matter. If it is directly in the form of a dragon, it's hard to say, especially when you're weak. It's okay if you stay at home. After all, the dragon has always been the totem of the nation, but it's hard to say if it falls abroad. Not nearby. Although he is weak, he should be fine recently. If the sensor is cut off, it should be cut off by the other party. Xiao Beng thought for a while and said. He who cut it off on his own initiative? Didn't he come to find you? Shen Yun didn't understand at this point. I'll ask you this when I see him in the future. He has taken the initiative to cut off contact now, probably to protect my safety, Xiao Benqi guessed. Okay, I don't care about this matter now. My dad is a dragon. There is nothing in this world that can deal with him. He dares to confront the thing that wants to lock me up. What else can he do? I'm afraid. Maybe I'm hiding now to regain my strength. Let's go down first and let's talk about this later. Xiao Benqi was very relieved about his father. After worrying for a while, he let go. If the other party can't to solve the problem, even if they come to find it now, they will only send hostages. Then it's up to you. Even though Shen Yun said that, he still planned to apply to the superiors to investigate the situation. There are things that are invisible to the human eye. There are a lot of technological products flying in the sky. Maybe something has been photographed. Putting this matter aside, the two of them went straight down the mountain. As soon as they went down, they attracted everyone's attention. The first time many relatives and friends met Shen Yun was when Shen Hong got married. This was the second time they met. Seeing these few, Shen Yundu had not changed much in his youth. Thinking about the Shen family, who had basically not changed at all, everyone was amazed and sighed at the magic of cultivating immortals. But I didn't say anything else. When Shen Hong got married last time, those who were interested in cultivating immortals had already tested their spiritual roots, and most of them were hit. A small number of those who had spiritual roots also had immortal cultivators near their homes, So they were directly he went back to study under his master. The Shen family did not accept apprentices easily. Shen Yun said it last time, but no one mentioned it again this time. However, Shen Yun found that there were many young girls and young men here. Shen Yun and Xiao Bengqiao came over and looked at them with fiery eyes. The look in his eyes made Shen Yun feel a little uncomfortable, and he was about to avoid the looks and go to the Shen family's old couple. The little boy next to him sensed Shen Yun's discomfort, and stood directly in front with a straight face. He was originally looking at the people here were shocked by Xiao Banqi's momentum and all looked away. Awesome, yes, Shen Yun smiled and said softly from behind. It's appropriate for me to handle this matter. These are your relatives, not mine. Now that I have changed my appearance, they don't recognize me. I can glare at them if I want. It's great, Xiao Bengqiao said happily. Okay, they are all invited guests. Don't go too far. Besides, a few glances are indispensable. Let's go to the grandparents' place first. Shen Yun tugged on Xiao Banqi's clothes. The aura of Phoenix was not most people can tolerate it. If you stare for a while, don't make the person faint, then it will be a joke. If you don't like anyone, you can just ask your family not to invite them to the valley next time. Huh, let's go, but I won't let these people look at us like they are looking at their own things. Xiao Beng didn't forget to emphasize his position as he walked away. Okay, they must not dare anymore. It's not like they are too ambitious. After Chen Yun finished speaking, he greeted the guests in the valley with a polite smile and walked directly towards his grandparents. Go. Over there is where the two old people live. It is a living place. Those who used to go there were some close guests. Other guests and some guests who came with them were treated in specially built rooms outside. This is where the family practices and studies. The place where magic is practiced will be freed up to entertain guests. When Shen Yun and the others walked through the path towards the back, there were not many people there. There are too many guests at home. If you ask me, just invite some friends who are cultivators. Cultivators have a long lifespan, and they will gradually become far away from ordinary people. It is better to have less contact. Xiao Bengqiao looked at it. Someone playing on the roadside said to Shen Yun. It is because the lifespan of ordinary people is limited, so the family is planning the street. Many people have met this time, and I don't know when the next time will be. Gradually, the familiar people will leave. Now we see more. Seeing him will leave some memories for the long years to come, Shen Yun said warmly. The age of rebirth, the fake daughter relies on cultivation to become bigger and stronger. Author, Laughing Charm. Chapter 367. There are not many relatives invited today who are practitioners. Most of them are middle-aged and elderly relatives. It is not easy to come over when I live in the mountains. Several elders living here are also a little lonely. Shen Yun is not opposed to holding such an event at home. But next time it's best not to bring so many young people who don't know the purpose of covering up. Grandpa and Grandma, let's come to see you. When Shen Yun entered the yard, he heard the old man and the old lady chatting happily with others. Come in quickly, your aunt and uncle are talking about you. Yang Xiaoko shouted loudly. Come on, the two people went in and saw an old lady, Yang Xiaoko's sister-in-law, a very sensible old lady. Shen Yun smiled and said hello, and the little Bengqiao next to him saw Shen Yun calling like this. However, he didn't notice anyone else, so he also shouted directly. These calls made the old people in the room a little confused. They were originally curious about this outstanding young man who came over. Now they saw him following Shen Yun and calling people, and they couldn't help but think about his age. When I grow up, I like to think about these things. Oh, I heard the cultivator of Yuanying call me uncle. My life is really worth living. Girl, let me ask you, this is your partner, you are not young anymore, when will this matter be done? Ah, let's see if my aunt and uncle can come over for a wedding drink again, the old lady asked curiously, holding Shen Yun's hand. Shen Yun froze at this question, and the little Beng Chiao who naturally came to the table to eat snacks as the old man and old lady greeted him was also stunned. He just saw the old man and the old lady greeting him naturally, and thought she recognized him, but she didn't know it was like this. He was stunned for a moment, and suddenly felt a little funny. No, no, this is my brother, not the target. Shen Yun blushed and said quickly. I know that young people nowadays are all called brother and brother. This is fashionable and understandable. The old lady didn't believe it. She saw that the two young men were both very good looking, so she thought they were a good match. She originally wanted to marry her mother-in-law. My nephew introduced me to Shen Yun. Now I see these two pretty young people standing together. Thinking about my nephew who is quite good looking, I suddenly feel a little eyesore. The handsome people call the handsome people good looking, and the handsome people call the ugly people. If people are together, it's like putting flowers on cow dung. It's better to find a way to resolve lifelong matters such as nephews. Shen Yun didn't know that the old lady was so old and liked to make up her mind so much, so he quickly said, "It's really my younger brother." I watched him grow up. After saying that, he went over to talk to Shen Kuliang and Yang Xiaoko, who were full of curiosity. After explaining Xiao Bengkie's situation clearly, looking at the surprised expressions of the two old people, and then looking at Xiao Bengkie who was watching the show, Chen Yun glared at him directly. He looked so pleasing to the eye, but he was really a disaster. Look. What a joke. Sister-in-law, the two children are really siblings, don't get me wrong. Shen Kuliang took the initiative to explain to Shen Yun. We are not siblings. What do you call the child? The old lady was very stubborn and directly targeted the little Benki. My name is Feng Jinlong, she is really my sister, Xiao Benki said with a playful smile. Good boy, your sister is also a good boy, so I won't make fun of you young people. The old lady smiled with satisfaction when she heard the little jumper's name. Shen Yun didn't even look at the blatant looks directed at Shen Yun and the others. Grandpa and Grandma, there are many guests outside, let's go out and take a look. You and your aunt and uncle are chatting here. Shen Yun wanted to leave this embarrassing situation at this moment. Let's go. After saying hello to his grandparents, Shen Yun glared at the little one who was still eating snacks on the table. It's true that adults are not as cute as they were when they were children. Thinking about how soft they were in their arms at that time with such a cute appearance, you never would have thought that people would grow up overnight. Here we come. When he left, he did not forget to take away half of the food on the table as usual. The old couple of the Shen family were a little suspicious when they saw the little boy like this, but now they completely believed it. A child turned into an adult after not seeing each other for a few days, which really stimulated the heart of the old man. After the two of them connected, the sister-in-law praised the little boy. Both Bengkie and Shen Yun were distracted after listening to what they said. Obviously I wanted someone to come over and praise my granddaughter, but I was so irritated that I didn't pay attention. It's really annoying. Shen Yun and Xiao Bengkie here didn't know that the two old people had thought so much. When they went out and heard their aunt and grandma still praising the two of them for their compatibility, they quickly sped up and ran away. After walking for a while, Shen Yun slowed down and said, "Give me some food." Shen Yun stretched out his hand towards Feng Jinlong beside him. If he was a child before, he would definitely not his food, but now he is taller than me. He is still tall, so he still doesn't want to eat. He won't grow taller anyway, and he still makes fun of himself. It would be better to eat less. Here, I'm going to play with third brother and the others. Feng Jinlong stuffed all the things in his hand to Shen Yun, and then ran away. Shen Yun was left facing a handful of food that was messy in the wind. Sure enough, even if you have grown taller, your mentality has not grown up so quickly. Are you planning to scare them? How childish. Shen Yun was eating snacks and walking outside. As soon as he left the path, a buzzing sound came over. Seeing that the people over there had noticed him, and each of them seemed to want to come over for something, Chen Yun put away the snacks in a second, and his face became serious, as if he was rejecting others. Just like the immortal cultivators thousands of miles away. Sure enough, the steps that were about to move over there stopped. Shen Yun walked quickly to Shen Kuliang and the others and asked in a low voice, "Dad, when will the dinner start? I still have things to do after dinner, so you can take your time and catch up. Are you okay? Don't worry, it will start soon. Your mother just said that the chef has almost finished cooking the dishes. I asked your uncle to greet you and sit down. Let's eat quickly. You can just show up. I won't delay you." Things Shen Kuliang, who was still talking to relatives and friends, immediately took action when he heard what Shen Yun said. After a while, all the 5 tables of guests in the room were seated, and the grandparents in the room were also invited. Today's meal was cooked by an outside chef, and it was very good. However, several single people of the same age at the Shen family's children's table felt something was wrong. They all looked at them with eager eyes, as if they were the protagonists today. Chen Yun and Xiao Banqi, by the way, now we can no longer call them Xiao Banqi, we have to call them Golden Dragon. This situation didn't feel better until Shen Yun and Feng Jinlong were called to the front. Shen Yun thought that meeting his relatives was just a meeting, but he didn't expect that he would be called to the front for introductions. He felt bad for a moment, and his face immediately returned to a business-like look. After he finished the part where the old man showed off his granddaughter, he just slipped away. He had no choice but to do it. Even though he was now a real nascent soul, he really couldn't say that he could stop looking at him if he didn't want others to look at him. The age of rebirth, the fake daughter relies on cultivation to become bigger and stronger. Author, Laughing Charm. Chapter 368. After Shen Yun and Xiao Bengqiao went down, the people below also relaxed a little. Not everyone is so arrogant that they would come over to have a relationship with a tall person when they see one. After all, people who have been struck by lightning so many times and survived, everyone is more nervous. Mostly out of curiosity, now I saw a real person, 1 nose and 2 eyes, nothing different. With their curiosity satisfied, Shen Yun and the others looked less at each other. After all, these two are unattainable, but the Shen family still has a few good single men of the right age. Let's see if there is any chance to introduce them to someone. In the future, he may also become a matchmaker for nascent soul cultivators. If you tell me, you can brag for a lifetime. Shen Yun didn't know what these people were thinking, so she felt that after going up and making everyone look at her, no one paid much attention to her anymore, which made her feel a lot more relaxed. After dinner, I said hello to my relatives, and then I went out directly with Xiao Bengqiao. Let's go to the capital first. Chen Yun greeted Feng Jinlong, who wanted to fly in another direction. What are you going to do in Beijing? Where should I be at that time? Jinlong asked puzzledly. Go to Beijing to ask about the situation and see if the satellite above has captured the dragon, Shen Yun explained. Satellite, this little kid really didn't understand. There really was no such thing in his hundreds of thousands of years of inheritance. In addition, he had never heard of it in this era, so he was really confused for a while. A technological product, something invented by human clever brains that can fly into space, Shen Yun explained. As for how many more, she really didn't know. Is it relying on spiritual energy? Xiao Bengqiao was shocked. He had never felt spiritual energy in this world in the past few years, otherwise he would not have been hatched out of the egg, but this satellite seemed to be in the sky. It's not a matter of 1 or 2 days. No, it is a kind of technological power that relies on some special fuel to run in space. If you are interested, you can learn about related things. But you have never even attended our elementary school. I guess there is little chance of understanding it, Shen Yun continued. I still don't understand, this little kid really didn't believe it. He planned to go back and look for something in this area. He, a person with tens of thousands of years of inheritance, couldn't understand anything. The two chatted all the way and soon arrived at the capital city. They felt where the severe cold was and flew directly there. Falling outside the door, Shen Yun did not expect that Yan Han would still live in this dormitory after so many years. The door of the room next to him where he lived before was closed, and he didn't know if anyone was living there now. Knocked on the door, and soon someone came and opened the door. "Aren't you in retreat at home? How come you have time to come here?" "Who is this?" Yan Han opened the door and asked doubtfully. "This is my friend. I have finished my retreat. I came here to ask if there was any news on the dragon I saw when the golden dragon was crossing the tribulation that day." Shen Yun said straight to the point. Yan Han had known Xiao Benqi before and knew his name, but now it was difficult to introduce him. He could only be called his friend. Yan Han didn't care. He glanced at the man with unfathomable strength, gave up his position and invited the person in. "There is some news, but there is only a little bit. Even when there was thunder, a little bit was photographed. The place where it disappeared was not in the country, so it was not photographed due to permission issues." Yan Han did not hide it, but the thunder over there, as soon as it stopped, news from the relevant departments came over. At present, this news is being spread in a small area. Shen Yun has the authority to know the news. As for the man next to him, Shen Yun has never brought anyone here. Since he can be brought come here, it must be trustworthy. But when the news was told, the severe cold was deliberately isolated. Little Benq noticed Yan Han's movements and didn't say anything. Anyway, even if he hid it, his sister would tell him later. "Can you show me the relevant information? I want to see which direction it disappeared last. Anyway, there is no way to solve the problem of demonic energy for the time being. I'm going to see if this dragon really exists." "Okay, wait a minute, I'll bring you something, and you can ask your friends to sit next to you." Yan Han glanced at Xiao Benqi, said, and walked directly into the room. "Sister, he is guarding against me," Xiao Benqi said in a funny way. "Of course I have to guard against you. This is a regulation. I didn't directly set up a formation to isolate you. It's because you are my friend," Shen Yun said in a low voice. "Okay, then I'll go sit on the chair next to you for a while, and you have a good chat with him." "Who made me change my appearance now?" "It's hard to say." Xiao Benqiao shrugged, looking indifferent, and really ran away. He sat down on the chair next to him. Before waiting for a while, Yan Han came out with the information. The two of them went to sit on the chairs on the other side. Shen Yun looked at the information on it. There were not many things captured by the satellite. The clouds were relatively thick at that time. In addition, the dragon's appearance was actually very short at that time, and few people saw it clearly. The satellite didn't even have any clear pictures, but the last position where it disappeared was captured. There is only so much information. I don't know if Shenlong really exists. If it exists, I can be sure that the other party is much stronger than us. So even if you want to look for it, if you find it, don't turn against the other party," Yan Han explained seriously. "Don't worry, let's go over and have a look, but this location seems to be overseas. Can you help us apply for 2 documents? Shen Yun directly returned the information and asked in passing. "You and his?" Shen Yun nodded. Yan Han glanced at Xiao Benqiao over there and said, "Okay, at 6 o'clock in the evening, just go to the department and ask me to get it. I'm sorry to bother you. If there is any news at that time, I will send it back to you for your record." "Okay, it just so happens that the department needs to send someone to investigate this matter. I haven't decided which people to use yet. Now that you have passed, I will ask the people below to cooperate with you. But according to the figure I saw at the time, if it appears, it should be easy to get the news, but this matter is a bit troublesome abroad. Anyway, we have discussed it above. It did not say that we want to get the dragon back, but we need to explore the threat. After all, If such a big thing comes here on a whim one day, it's really enough to make a fuss, Yan Han explained carefully. Shen Yun couldn't say that Shen Long would transform, so he could only nod his head to express his understanding. As for the little one next to him, although he listened to the whole process, he didn't know if he wanted to clarify that his father dragon was not such a dragon, and no one might believe him if he said so. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Age of Rebirth, the fake daughter relies on cultivation to become bigger and stronger. Author, Laughing Charm. Chapter 369. The two of them bid farewell to the severe cold and walked around the capital. Some of the wild cultivator markets were very good places. The two of them went directly to the market and walked around. They picked up a lot of things before leaving. I also met Zhang Min, who came to shop for treasure. Shen Yun, you have come to the capital. Is your cultivation stable? Zhang Min asked with concern. My cultivation has stabilized, thank you for your concern, Shen Yun said with a smile. Are you welcome? How are you doing? Have you gained anything from coming here today? It's popular in Beijing to come to this place to hunt for treasures, so I'll come over after get off work to join in the fun, Zhang Min asked curiously. I just bought a few uncommon spiritual plants, but I didn't get much else. There is nothing to hide, not to mention that everyone knows about spiritual plants now, only that Shen Yun and Xiao Banqi are now with their cultivation level. If someone wants to something from the two of them, they should consider it carefully. Since you haven't gained anything, it looks like I won't be able to find it if I go in. Zhang Min heard what Shen Yun said and came to a conclusion. That's not necessarily true. Our needs are different. There are still many things here that are suitable for you to use. You can go and explore them. Shen Yun gave his own suggestions. Speaking of demand, let me ask you something. Are there any newer elixirs that need to be promoted recently? Our auction house would like to cooperate with you. By the way, do you still have the beauty elixir that was auctioned at the beginning? There have been a lot of people asking about this in the past few years. Even your Shen family alchemy workshop does not have this elixir. Such elixirs are hard to find nowadays. There are people on the black market. I'm looking to buy it at a high price, but there are a lot of counterfeit products, and a peach blossom cream has become popular. Let's see when you can refine this elixir again and cooperate with our family again. Don't worry, we won't charge you a commission. Zhang Mintao said in a close tone. Shen Yun didn't expect that the most popular thing now is beauty pills, but if you think about it, you can understand. You can still buy foundation building pills on the market, but there are really no beauty pills. In the past few years, things have happened one after another for him. When I think of refining this elixir, I mean that there are still a few cultivators in this world, and most ordinary people also want to stay young and beautiful. The beauty elixir is a very necessary product. Although it cannot increase lifespan, who doesn't want to be beautiful? Okay, I'll take the time to practice it once I'm done with what I'm doing. Even though this beauty elixir doesn't have a big effect, it's not easy to use spiritual plants. There are too many of them. Wait until when I get it. I have accumulated a lot of spiritual plants, so I need to practice more. Shen Yun responded directly. You promised. Don't need many furnaces, just one furnace is enough. Things are rare and valuable, so I will inform my brother of the good news. He has been dragging this matter to me for a long time. I know you have been very busy in the past few years, so I am sorry to bother you. I am also generous today. Said shamelessly. Zhang Min jumped up with joy when he heard Shen Yun agreed. Okay, let's talk to your brother. I can still make the decision on this matter myself. I will definitely be able to deliver the things to you within a month. How many pills can be refined in one furnace then depends on luck. Okay, I'll bother you with this matter. By the way, what are you going to do when you come to Beijing this time? Do you need me anywhere? After the matter was resolved, Jiangmin quickly started to care about Shen. Clouds come. I just came over to ask Yanhan to apply for a certificate. It's not a big deal. Why don't you just come over for a walk if you have nothing to do? The time we agreed with Yanhan is coming soon. You can go in and have a look. I won't accompany you. Shen Yun, seeing that the time was almost up, he stopped chatting with Jiangmin. Okay, let's see you next time. Jiangmin was waiting to go back and tell his brother the good news, and the three of them separated directly at the gate of the market. Shen Yun and the others rushed directly to the special department to get their certificates, and flew directly towards the direction sensed by Xiao Bengjia and photographed by the satellite. I'm going abroad soon. Let's share a foreign language with you. Shen Yun searched for the languages in his mind that he had not used for a long time. Fortunately, he has cultivated now and his memory has improved. Otherwise, if he doesn't use it for a long time, these will still be lost. I don't know which corner it was stuffed into. Okay, Xiao Bengqiao nodded. Shen Yun had shared it. After digesting it, what he blurted out was a fluent foreign language, even more authentic than Shen Yun, who had studied it for so many years. This talent is really worth it. That's it, Shen Yun commented. The two of them landed directly in an unfamiliar area. They looked at the photo on the ID and used a little trick to make it look like the person on the ID. Looking at each other, who looked a little different, the two of them laughed. This sudden change in appearance was quite refreshing. Let's go, I told you to come out and take a look, and now I finally come out, just in time to look around. Shen Yun greeted Xiao Benqi. The two people walked through a strange neighborhood and a strange crowd, walking forward as if going shopping. There were also people with abilities here, who were normal human beings, but their cultivation path was different from Shen Yun and others. It seems that there are too few of them coming out, and they think that the cultivators outside are all like bird people. It seems we should go out more often. Our understanding of the outside world is a bit biased. We have been so busy these past few years that we haven't paid much attention to the news from the outside. We have left a lot of things behind, Shen Yun said to Xiao Ben next to him. Ji said. It's okay. After all, you come out here to understand these things. Let's take a look while we search. Xiao Bengqiao didn't care about what he left behind. Shen Yun nodded. This is true. If you want to understand something, you can understand it by walking around here. As for the hidden information, even if you pay attention to it, you may not be able to understand it. It is more intuitive to understand it in this environment. A little. Have you noticed anything? The two of them continued walking forward, and Shen Yun asked the little Benqi next to him. No, I didn't feel anything. It seems that my dad is hiding it very deeply. Xiao Benqi shook his head. The two of them could only move forward, simply because the two of them had changed their images, so they didn't encounter any problems here. This town seems quite quiet and peaceful. I can't tell if anything special has happened recently. And according to the current speed of information dissemination, it seems that your father should appear in this world as a normal person. Shen Yun observed for a while and said. That's good. I don't know what my dad looks like yet, and I don't know if I can recognize him if we meet him. Xiao Benqi was a little worried. If the other party completely closed the blood induction, then it would really be possible for the other party to not know each other. Don't worry, if you don't know the other person, he will definitely know you, Shen Yun said soothingly. That's true, Xiao Bengqiao agreed. The age of rebirth, the fake daughter relies on cultivation to become bigger and stronger. Author, Laughing Charm. Chapter 370. The two people continued to wander around. The structure of this small city was not complicated. It was a small street with shops similar to ordinary shops. There was an additional mercenary mission center and a magician's union. After the two people, if you observe carefully, people here call those who suddenly have special abilities as magicians. These people can mobilize the energy of various attributes of aura. the more they can mobilize, the stronger their ability. The energy stored in the body is very small, which is very different from domestic cultivators. Domestic cultivators are constantly improving their body's capacity to hold spiritual energy. As the body contains more and more spiritual energy, the ability to control the floating spiritual energy becomes stronger and stronger. When Shen Yun and the others saw what was happening outside, they naturally disguised themselves as magicians. After walking around the Magicians' Guild, they saw that all the staff inside were fine. Looking at the things posted in the hall, the whole town there are only 156 magicians, and they are responsible for these people. The work is indeed a bit too leisurely. As for the Mercenary Mission Center, it was much more lively than the Magicians' Guild. Missions were slowly posted one by one, and then they were snatched away by people who had been waiting for a long time. Shen Yun looked at the mission wall, and there were only 2 on it. The tasks were all covered in dust and no one had touched them. "Hey, brother, why aren't the 2 people above doing anything?" Xiao Banqi looked at the content above and asked a buddy next to him who didn't get the task with curiosity. The other party looked at Shen Yun and the others in surprise, probably thinking about where the 2 country bumpkins came from. They didn't know this, but when they saw the outstanding faces of Shen Yun and the others, they immediately swallowed up all their complaints. Treating beauties, he is a little more tolerant. This is your first time coming to this place. If you don't mind, let's go over there and have a drink and talk carefully. The other party pointed to an open bar next to the mission center, where many people were waiting. Task: waiting for the right person to come and form a team. Okay, Shen Yun nodded and followed the other person directly towards that direction. The other party expertly ordered a glass of wine before sitting down. Shen Yun and Xiao Banqi followed the local customs and ordered 2 glasses of wine. My name is Clay. These 2 missions have been with us for a while. The first one is to enter the mysterious Eastern world and explore their secrets. This is a continuous mission. At the beginning, some people wanted to I have to try, but without exception, the people who went there didn't come back in the end, saying that they betrayed the Emperor Yu, and the adults above sent a lot of angels there, but the news was not very good, so although the mission is still there. Here, the East is already considered a taboo place, and no one like us low-level magicians will accept this mission. Clay shared the news with Shen Yun and the others in a low voice, with a bit of arrogance on his face. With a little contempt. Obviously they regard Shen Yun and the others as people from a small place. Clay, you know so much. Why is the East a forbidden place? Isn't it obviously more powerful here? Xiao Banqi asked because he didn't understand. His curious look made Clay feel more satisfied, and the conversation became more exciting. It is said that they have magical arts passed down by ancient immortals. Although we are very greedy, due to our physical constitution and race, we cannot learn the magical arts of the other party. We did not react at the beginning, and it was too late to react later. We can only watch the other side become stronger. According to rumors, even if we use hot weapons, the other side is not afraid of us anymore. The other side spoke loudly, but lowered his voice at the last sentence. That's it, that's such a pity. Shen Yun said this, but his heart was filled with joy, and a feeling of pride arose spontaneously. It's not a pity. If we had taken down the Eastern world earlier, we could now walk sideways in the world. Although Clay's strength is not strong, he still has a lot of ideas in his mind. Neither of them said anything. Yelang was arrogant and ignored him. He should first inquire about the following mission. What is the Angel Project? Oh, I don't know about this, but there is no explanation for the mystery above, which is very suspicious. Anyway, people like us in a small place just want to do some simple tasks. Although I envy those angels, but I still feel that I am pretty good the way I am. As soon as Clay finished speaking, he received responses from several people drinking next to him. It seemed that the people who stayed here had similar thoughts. Oh, it's so boring just doing these tasks that day. Are there any new tasks? We want to go over and see them, Shen Yun said, pretending to be curious. Clay did not speak in a hurry, but motioned to the bartender to serve another drink. There are usually dozens of people here, but today there are just a few. You probably don't know what they are doing, right? Clay pretended. Looking at the cup in his hand, Shen Yun immediately paid the other party for 2 glasses of wine. Oh, my friends, you are so polite. Clay was obviously very satisfied with Shen Yun's generosity. He drank a glass of wine and whispered, I will only tell you this matter. Have you heard that it happened a few days ago? According to the satellite display, the dragon disappeared into the deep forest not far from us. Many people in the city wanted to catch a piece of it, so they all left. Hey, Clay, you came out to cheat for a drink again. Who doesn't know about this? We don't go just because we don't want to take the risk. The deep forest over there is not a simple place. You are not strong enough, so you just want to fool the children. Are you going with me? It's so abominable. Some of the people around him couldn't stand Clay, and they immediately exposed Clay's purpose. Zach, please stop meddling in my affairs, or I'll make you look good. These two are my friends. I'm just sharing the latest news with them. I'm not like you, a coward who doesn't dare to go. Clay stood up and spat over there. If the mercenary mission center didn't allow fighting, the two of them would have started fighting. Shen Yun and the others didn't care about the quarrel between the two. They just asked casually. Unexpectedly, they got this news unexpectedly. It gave them some direction in their search for the dragon. No wonder there were so few people in the small town. Well, it turned out that they were all out. Clay, you are indeed our friend. The dragon is a legendary thing. You actually shared this news with us. We want to see what the dragon looks like. Do you want to go? We can go together, please. You lead the way, and we'll pay for the expenses on the way. The two men immediately acted like ardent dragon lovers, looking at Clay with fiery eyes. Clay saw the two children across from him believing his words, and immediately proudly showed off to Zack next to him.